Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Wimpy Studio News and Reviews. Today I'm going to be covering several topics. The result of Wrestlemania 41 from last weekend, a review of Righteous Gemstones Episode 3, the first 3 episodes of Andor Season 2, When Hope Calls Season 2 Episode 3, and then my thoughts on the poster and teaser for the Samurai Term Pretty Season 3, and a bit of talk about the Pope's death, and the arrest of 2 judges from Milwakee and New Mexico from Friday. So obviously a lot to talk about, a lot of TV show stuff this week for sure. But to kind of start out, I told you guys last week that I would be talking about the winners of Wrestlemania and my thoughts and all of that. And overall, I enjoyed Wrestlemania. I mean, I was watching it online, so obviously it's different if you're watching it on the TV, whether you're there in person. Now, I went to see the Royal Rumble in person, and that was a lot of fun, and I think the final with Cena versus Uso and the shock there when, Uso beat Cena, I mean, that was definitely like a one-of-a-kind experience, it felt like, because nobody was expecting it. So I would say this was a bit more underwhelming because I didn't think there were a whole lot of surprises overall. Like, I knew Jey Uso would beat Gunther, and I had a pretty good feeling that Cena would beat Rhodes. Now, the I think more of what I was surprised about to a degree, I mean, I thought CM Punk was going to win the triple threat match against Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins came through with the win, which honestly I like him. He's cool. I mean, I definitely would have rather him win than Roman Reigns. I'm not really a big fan of him, and I think a lot of people aren't necessarily a big fan of him after it was revealed that he voted for Trump and all of that. So I'm happy Seth Rollins won. I would have liked to see Cody Rhodes get the win over John Cena, but if this means John Cena is no longer in, like, if he's done, then I guess it leaves room for people like Punk, or I mean, and Rhodes has already gotten wins. I mean, but like Punk could maybe get his win like next time. And I know he lost at this and he lost the Royal Rumble, so I bet he'll get one more. I mean, he's older, but I think they'll give him a win. I mean, if they can give Cena wins, and he's older too. So so Rhodes versus Cena, women's, I'm not as interested in the women's, and just because I don't think they do it as well overall as like the men's. But there was Lyra, Valkyrie, I'm gonna mess up with these names. So Becky Lynch, they defeat Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, and that was a good match overall. And Logan Paul defeated AJ Styles, which I was kind of disappointed about. Not really a big fan of Logan Paul, as are most people. And then Randy Orton defeated Joe Hendry. I don't have as much of an opinion. I mean, some of these matches I just don't know a whole lot about. I'm still kind of a newcomer when it comes to the whole WWE thing. But Dominic Mysterio defeated Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, and Penta. Drew McIntyre defeated Damian Priest. Io Sky defeated by Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. And then Tiffany Stratton defeated Charlotte Flair, which I was not expecting, just because Charlotte Flair has gotten a lot of these wins, and she won the Royal Rumble. She wasn't at the Elimination Chamber on March, but it was kind of cool to see Tiffany get the win over her. A bit of, like, that was definitely more of a plot twist. I was not expecting that. El Grande Americana defeated Rey Fenix. Jacob Fatu defeated LA Knight. Jade Cargill defeated Naomi. The New Day defeated the War Raiders in the team title match. I'm not really a big fan of the team title matches necessarily. And then, of course, Jey Uso defeated Gunther. So I would say there weren't like a whole lot of surprises, but again, partly I can't really like blame the writers if I'm not just super invested in the matches in general. Like, a lot of the women's ones I just wasn't super into. And I think I like the style of the Royal Rumble better, where they throw like 20 or 30 people into a ring and they have them fight and get eliminated. I think I like that better rather than this more free-for-all Wrestlemania and like 3, count to 3 and then you win. I don't know. I think I like that style a bit more. I know this is more traditional. I'll probably get used to it as I watch more WWE and all, but WrestleMania was definitely entertaining. I would have liked maybe a few more plot twists, but then again, I think it was definitely like, I liked the Royal Rumble and I think the Elimination Chamber a bit better, But this one had some good ones. I thought the triple threat match with the guys was good, and Jey Uso defeating Gunther was good, and I mean the Cena versus Rhodes fight was good. Although I was kind of disappointed with the Travis Scott at the end because I think everyone expected The Rock, but it seems like the actor bailed, or I don't know if it's like going to be an in-character thing. But the Travis Scott was a bit underwhelming at the end, and I did want to see Rhodes win, so that was kind of a disappointment at the end. But I was more like whatever. So moving on from WrestleMania, so with the Righteous Gemstones, I don't really know. I mean, I think it's a really entertaining show, and me and my dad are currently watching that and Andor. Andor will be over in a few weeks, but those two shows are very different from each other. But episode 3 was a good episode. I thought it was significantly less raunchy overall than the first two. It focused on Eli's brother-in-law, his wife's brother, baby Billy, coming, and he's gonna like be running a new location of the church. This was all hilarious. This guy is hilarious. Him and Eli argue, and in the end, they get attacked by people from Johnny Season's church. And then Eli comes and forces them to all leave naked. I mean, I definitely did not need to see them naked and see all their penises. That was definitely not what I wanted to see on my screen, but not really surprising for this type of show either. I did like the ending where the two laugh. It felt like a nice sense of relief from everything. And I liked seeing like the dad and the 3 kids bond a little bit and share like a laughter, and he realizes his mistake and goes to apologize to Billy. I thought that was good. There's definitely more lighthearted moments in this episode, but then there's also some heavy stuff, like Gideon is starting to like collect, like how much his stuff in his parents' house is worth. Clearly, he needs to pay Scotty up, and get all of that with the blackmail situation figured out. It was definitely more of a minor plot, which is surprising because episode 2 was mostly focused on the blackmailers, and it kind of definitely took a step back in this episode. But Jesse does not trust Gideon. He just antagonizes him every second he can. And I do think that's going to blow up. And I wonder whether Gideon is going to break away from Scotty at some point. I mean, I feel like as long as he keeps working for him, he's just going to keep damaging his relationship with his parents, especially his dad. But his dad also doesn't know that he's involved in this blackmailing thing, and I assume he'll find out at some point. So, I mean, that plot line is very interesting. So, I mean, this episode definitely, I think, overall had the best plot, and some lighthearted moments too, and overall less raunchy. So I would say it was definitely a step up from the first two for sure. So the first 3 episodes of Andor season 2 came out, and they're dropping in 3 episode arcs. So we got a good amount of content. I mean, definitely I'm glad they dropped it with 3 episodes, because I would have been very underwhelmed if it was just the first episode, because I thought these first 2 episodes were not the best overall. They were good elements. I think I like the wedding plotline overall, even though I'm still confused with the 2 old men. I mean, I understand Tay, but when they introduced this scalding guy, I started to get really confused. And I think season 1, well, look, there's a lot of characters in the show, but I think season 1 did a better job at balancing the plot lines out. However, I'll give them some credit. They're just 3 episodes into this season, so I do think they'll get better when it comes to the pacing and the development of the characters. I think these first 2 overall were weaker, but there were things I liked in both. I liked, first of all, episode 1. Again, a lot of the wedding stuff was good in it. Episode 2, I really like Cyril's monologue to that new person working there, and he says there's a place here for those who dare. I mean, I thought that was a great line, and definitely a highlight of that episode. So I mean, I think the biggest drag though was Andor, being held captive by this group of people. I mean, it just really dragged on, and it lasted 1.5 episodes, and I just wasn't interested at all. Now, it probably is pretty realistic. This there's probably a big trend in this time with these just unorganized Republican groups, we assume. So, but still, it was very irritating to watch, and I'm really glad at the end of episode 2 that Andor escaped them, because I was getting really annoyed with that plotline. But episode 3 overall was definitely the best episode of the 3, and I would say it definitely felt the most like season 1. You had all these different plot lines. Bix almost getting raped. Brasso dying, the first major death, that was definitely sad. Cyril and Daedra hosting Cyril's mom, and I thought, that definitely felt like the least like Star Wars overall, just like them sitting at a dinner table. But I read something somewhere that Cyril's mom is proven to be a worse villain than Palpatine. I thought that was pretty funny. But I kind of like Cyril and Daedra together. I mean, Daedra's giving off definitely some different vibes this season, and Cyril's definitely had a big glow up from season 1. So I'm curious to see them. I mean, I guess they're a couple now, but we haven't really seen them intimate at all. So I don't really know what their situation is, or if they're just playing house or whatnot. But I'm liking that. And I thought it was interesting how Mon gave her daughter away out of the wedding, because you could just tell that like she didn't really want to go through with this, but she ultimately does go through with it. And I do think there's going to be more tension between her and her daughter going forward. And I mean, I'm definitely most interested in this plot line. I think the Bix and Cassian reunion is probably like my second favorite moment of this episode. But overall, just how this wedding goes down, how Luthen hires Cinta to take care of Rey. Or Tay, sorry, there's so many characters to keep track of. And then her and Vel seeing each other was definitely a good moment. Now I assume that means Tay's going to die because she's going to kill him. I definitely think they underutilize Vel in these episodes. I would have liked more of her, but I assume we'll see her and Cinta reunite at some point. At least I hope so. I thought the wedding stuff was really good. And then at the end where she's dancing, I thought that was like a great montage overall, where she just finally feels a little bit of relief. I mean, still she feels bad for the situation with her daughter, and there's going to be more drama there. But for right now, Mon can just like have fun. And I like that moment where she's dancing at the end. That was good. So, Bix almost getting raped. It was very uncomfortable sequence overall. Like I was disgusted. I think it was really well done though, and seeing Bix, stand up for herself and fight back was a great sequence. Brasso dying was sad. It was sad that Cassian got there just a little bit too late. I was kind of confused by the whole thing with the older man and the stormtroopers and Brasso, and then he gets like held captive. I mean, I think that was like a bit weird. Like, I don't know. I understand why they needed him separated from Bix, and then the whole plot line with Will and this farm girl was also just kind of weird, and I didn't think it was super needed. So I think there was some odd stuff there. But overall, episode 3 was the strongest one. I'm looking forward to the next arc, so I'll be back next week to talk about episodes 4, 5, and 6. So, When Hope Calls, Season 2, Episode 3, this definitely felt like we were kind of getting into the meat of the season. The first 2 episodes introduced Nora and Mountie Michael, while also wrapping up Lillian's arc. Now, this episode introduced 2 new characters. We have Hannah, who is Ray Lawrence's niece, and he passed away, and he owned like a big ranch nearby. So she's coming to settle his estate and hold an auction. And then we meet his Ray's foreman Wyatt, who's still working at the ranch. Now they're preparing to sell, which means assuming they'll be out of jobs. Now I don't really know. I honestly, I don't think she's gonna sell the ranch. Is my guess. I think she's literally on the poster, so my guess is she's going to be sticking around and keeping the ranch and keeping Wyatt on, and there'll be like a little romance there between them. Now, I gotta say, at first her character really annoyed me with how like privileged she was acting and treating everyone, but then she had like a total switch at the end of the episode, or really halfway through when you saw her grief about her uncle, and we kind of starting to see a bit of a connection forming between her and Wyatt. And then she has to go to the orphanage to get like matches, but then they invite her to stay, and then we see more of the softer side of her. And then Tess giving her an offer, $15,000, and Wyatt saying, I think you can do better than that. I don't think anyone's going to get the ranch, because I don't think any number is going to be good enough. I think to her, I think she just like it's going to be too much, and she's just going to keep the ranch to herself, I guess. I mean, like she's technically owns it now. I mean, I don't really know how that works. I guess because maybe she's the last living relative, so I guess that means she automatically gets ownership of it, if she chooses not to auction it. Now, what I will say is that she's really pretty. Like, I mean, and I don't know how old she is. I mean, she's definitely prettier than or not Ashley. I keep thinking Ashley, but Nora's actress. But she's also like we assume Nora's like 10 years older than her or something like that, like an early 40 to early 30, age range for the two of them. So, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of her character develop. And then seeing Nora and Michael, they're going to pick up this new orphan, and we see this like tension, kind of like funny tension, some arguing, just butting heads the whole time. It was pretty funny. I like this dynamic between the two, where he saves her from the snake, he gets bitten by the snake, she says he needs to go to the doctor, he's saying it's fine, he's gotten bitten before, so he has like a tolerance to it. And seeing like how they like care for each other in a way that they don't particularly want to admit out loud, because they're just kind of dancing around whatever attraction they have towards each other. It's really cute. I'm liking them together for sure. Now, the new orphan, Jenny, there's clearly some sort of mystery with her. Like, when she was explaining her story to Nora and the Mounties, it definitely seemed like there were some holes. And, I mean, at least me, and talk to my mom, like, we didn't fully buy whatever she was telling them. And then at the end, we see that there's a picture of, like, I couldn't tell who, but two older lady. I mean, I don't really know who was in the picture, but it did say "Happy Birthday, Dolores. Love, Grandma." So are we to assume that her real name's Dolores and that's her grandma? I mean, I guess that's the assumption, but I think the whole point of that last scene was to like just introduce a little snippet of a mystery that I assume will be addressed next episode. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a good mystery with the kids, because I do think When Hope Calls is way better at including the kids than When Calls the Heart is. Like, they do a better job with the plot overall, and I get it, because it takes place at an orphanage, while Elizabeth has so many aspects of her life, and teaching's just part of it, where, I mean, it used to be Lily, and her main thing was the orphanage, but now Nora's main thing is the orphanage. So, like, the main character is centered at this thing, which means the kids are going to be included more. So I do think this show is better at that than that. So I thought Sam deciding he wanted to be like test out being a ranch hand to see if he wanted to buy the ranch was pretty funny, and then that he gets allergic to the hay. I thought that was hilarious. And then him like having to keep the secret about his gold, but then the person who runs like the dessert stand like overhears and keeps bringing it up to Maggie. I assume it won't be long before people actually find out he has a whole bunch of gold. Now, I'm liking Sam and Maggie together. My only thing is, if it like they weren't a thing last season, and I don't really remember Sam at all. I would have to go back and watch, but like they do seem to be progressing kind of weirdly. Like, he said he wanted to take her out to dinner last episode, but then this episode, there's just really nothing. Like, we didn't see their dinner. Like, are they like? I mean, it's clear they do have feelings for each other, but are they going to address them, or like they waiting until this like gold situation, like he officially like owns it? Like, are they waiting for that? Like, they didn't really make it clear where they're at in their relationship now. So I hope there's more clarity on that in the future, or in future episodes. So overall, though, episode 3 was good. It was definitely my favorite of the season so far. And I'm looking forward to the next 3 episodes, seeing, what develops with Jenny the orphan. I feel bad for saying that, but seeing what develops with Jenny. Seeing how the auction goes. Will Hannah actually auction it off? Will Tess get it? Will someone else? Or will Hannah decide to keep it and keep Wyatt on as foreman? That's what I think is going to happen. And then whatever happens next with Sam and Maggie, I assume he's going to avoid the ranch land life now after what happened with the hay. And he'll have to find something else, I guess, to do with the money. I don't know. We'll see. Looking forward to what's coming next, though. So, summer returned pretty. I was not expecting to get this much content this early. I mean, we knew it was coming out in July, so I was thinking maybe in May we would get something, but not in April. I mean, I was completely thrown off guard when I saw the poster. July 16th, a bit later than I was expecting. I was hoping like 4th of July or maybe even late June. But regardless, though, I'm looking forward to it. 11 episodes. So the poster itself, though, I'm like, oh, like, and I'm a Belly and Jeremiah shipper, so just seeing him like up close in her face was just they look so cute. and then just Conrad staying there pissed. So I mean that kind of ruins the whole thing. And then I'll talk about the teaser in a minute, and like it kind of ruined it too. Like I want to like and fully enjoy the Belly and Jeremiah relationship. And then the teaser came out, and then the teaser is pretty much just filled with moments between the two of them, and they're just so cute together. And and then the ending is like Conrad coming and showing up at her door, and then the music changes. It was Daylight, and now it's Red. And I like Daylight a lot better than Red as a song. So I mean, but I'm also biased. But I already liked it before this trailer, so I already had that preference. So overall, though, there's a lot of backlash to Jeremiah. A lot of people don't like him, and I do think part of that, or probably most of it, is because he cheated in the book. Spoiler alert, I assume everyone knows that by now, especially all the haters that will probably comment on this video. They don't like him because he cheated. Now, I'm going to assume that in the show, Team Jeremiah is more of a developed base than it was in the books, where I assume the books was mostly all Team Conrad. I could be wrong, but I think the Jeremiah base has grown. And now it still seems like a minority, but I truly do think there's a significant portion of people who do prefer her with Jeremiah. And I'm definitely not looking forward when they have him cheat, assuming they have him cheat, unless they take that plot out. But I highly doubt they will. I know they're not going to be in-game, but I decided I want to enjoy the journey with them. I want to see where they go, and maybe they'll do them like right and have them break up mutually and all that. If they have him cheat, I'm gonna have a really hard time accepting that, because I don't ever see him cheating on her. The way he looks at her throughout the trailer, he loves her. So I just don't see the cheating thing happening. I mean, and I know she's gonna go back to Conrad. I know there's a very little chance that she ends up with Jeremiah. It's possible. But I just feel like if they're starting off the season with them together, I highly doubt they're going to end up together. I mean, she started off season 2 with Conrad. She ended up with Jeremiah. Season 1, she started out single. She ended up with Conrad. So, I mean, I feel like it's going to be Conrad. They could have it where she chooses herself, but I doubt it. As long as they do it better and not have it rushed at the end of book 3 where she calls off the wedding and then her and Conrad quickly get married at the end. Like, as long as they don't rush it like that, as long as they can properly break them up and do them justice, I will be fine with it. But I'm still not looking forward to it overall. But, I've accepted that they're not in game, and I'm just going to enjoy the journey that they have together, because there's going to be so many good moments between them in season 3. The teaser just like confirmed that for me, and I assume there's plenty more that we haven't seen yet. So I'm not really going to get into my thoughts on Conrad. I mean, I'm not a huge fan. I don't hate him. He has good moments. Like, I think his whole Panic Attack storyline overall is done pretty well, and I can sympathize with him for that. I just don't think he's a good match for Belly, partly because he's not open and honest about his feelings, where Jeremiah is more. And I think a lot of girls just want a guy who's open and honest and doesn't try to hide. I think that's the main thing as to why I like Jeremiah more than Conrad. And I'm just not as big of a fan of the broody guy. I like the more fun, carefree option if I have to pick, guys or girls. When I'm watching a show, usually I'm going to pick the more fun one rather than just the quiet, broody one who can't be open and honest about his feelings. But that's just me. I'm open to discussing this in the comments below, as long as we can be respectful, because there's a lot of just brash and harsh stuff that people say to both sides of it, but especially Conrad lovers to Jeremiah lovers. There's just some really brutal stuff, the words exchanged between them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to July for season 3. So the last couple things is there's a few things going on in our world. The Pope died, and he died on Easter Sunday night. Really sad. People saying Vance killed him, but I don't have much of an opinion on that. I don't know. I think it's not really something to joke about. I mean, I don't think he killed him. I understand why. Maybe there could be some evidence to suggest that he did, considering he was the last person to see him, we assume. But I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing to joke about. I don't think it's super necessary. But then we had the 2 agents, one from Milwaukee, one from New Mexico. Or not agents, judges. Sorry, that's my bad. judges. One gets arrested basically for obstruction of justice with the ICE agents, and the other one gets arrested. Other judge gets arrested with an immigrant. I mean, both immigrant things. Now, I don't understand all the details about it, but what I do think is they're just, especially with there seems to be this involvement with the ICE agents, which from Trump, that just seem to be coming through and just completely not obliterating, but completely taking away not people's rights, but taking away people's dignities, and they're so powerful that it seems like anyone that gets in their way a little bit, they're just going to completely go after rather than trying to negotiate a deal. And it's kind of dehumanizing in that way. So I'm not a big fan of that. We'll see how these trials turn out and whatnot, but I was just kind of rubbed the wrong way by it. Now, I think that these judges were completely in the right? No, I think they could have handled things better and gone different routes at times, but I do think that there is an issue when it comes to just the bullying and the dehumanizing with the Trump administration that needs to be addressed. His Easter address was absolutely disturbing. Reading it and thinking, this is our president. We should be ashamed of ourselves as a country that we have a president like this who speaks this way about real life people like Biden and other people too, and tries to act like he's like the savior or Jesus, big Jesus, Messiah lover, whatnot. It's just completely disturbing, and it's definitely a disgrace for what we should have. Just my opinion. But yeah, comment down below, what do you think of all this stuff that I discussed, and I'll be back next week with a new episode of the podcast. Thanks everyone for listening, and bye everyone.